Kingdom Day 16, and for the last 24 hours my account has been on a diet. Why has my account been on a diet? It's because I'm going to start my City Hall level 22 and I need a huge amount of food, wood and stone. What does being on a diet look like? Well, quite simply, I've reduced the level of troops that I was training. For example, here I'm doing tier 1 instead of tier 3. I actually have some queues that are doing nothing because I'm trying to build up the resources. I have been doing a little bit of building on my free building queue, but only things like farm level 11 to 12, which are a very small demand on my resources. What I've also been doing is, of course, drawing from my farms, which I've spoken about on videos before this. I think it's important to sometimes put your account on a diet like this because you can get into a trap where pull in the resources you need for a large build, and this really is the first large build you get presented with, can be very difficult. If you found getting the 5 millions for your tier 4 difficult, then you're going to find level 21 to 25 on the city halls a real grind. What I'm doing here is obviously impossible without farm support, and this account has had 5 farms feeding into it. But even in that case, I've still had a deficit of resources because I've been moving so quickly. Now, before though you build your City Hall 22, just a little tick list. It's a good marker of how you're doing. So 9 days and 21 hours. And I don't think you should be starting City Hall 22 without engineering to level 10, which is a massive 35% on your building. Of course, I've gone out and picked a rune up, 5%. So, use this as a marker. Now, pressing upgrade now would be a mistake because also, remember, building buffs are brilliant, but the major building buff you have is your Alliance Centre, which gives you helps. Where if I can get this to the next level, which is 25, it's basically a 25% reduction in its cost, in its time cost. So let's finish this. And there we go. Also, if you didn't rush for the City Hall, if you didn't rush for the 1.5 million Hidden Lotus, you should also have one of these in your bag ready to use. The 7-day speed up, which is roughly the first opportunity you have with a building to use it. So after helps, I should have roughly 7 days left, and this is the opportunity to use it. Of course, you could use these two for your tier 4, but I think it's a mistake to get tier 4 whilst the hardest thing you have to fight is a fort 3. It doesn't really make sense to me, but I know some people like to rush those tier 4 for their own protection, and especially if there's a civil war, I can understand people wanting to do that. So there's a barbarian event here. I know I should be doing forts, but I also need to get the gold key from the mightiest governor event. So, what does getting City Hall 22 mark the start of? Well, really it marks the start of my Sunset Canyon guide. So, City Hall 22 is obviously massively important because it's going to give me my 5th march. I've done something slightly different on this account where I've been putting all my heads into Joan and I have her expertise. I've done this because I'm basing my team around her 4th skill, which is Rage Generation of 200 over 4 seconds, and the buffs that it gives. So what am I going to do different? So I'm going to drop my Siege March, which I've been using for so long, which is a good thing because I didn't get Matilda until last week. So I would have had a real rough time trying to get that Siege March up and running. But the reason I'm going to drop the Siege March is because as I have based my build around Joan, it means that when she buffs the infantry, cavalry and archers, she misses out the Siege March, which means instead of buffing 5, she's buffing 4, which means it's less effective, and I'm trying to be ultra effective. If you look through all of my content, a lot of it is just an effort to become ultra effective. I am not saying this is going to work. I'm sure I'm going to miss Matilda. She has the most broken skill in the game, which is far above legendary. The fact that she can give 60% or 60 points of progress for all in defense and health from just one skill is off the chart. Let's have a look. So I think it's only 30 on the first tier of legendaries. On the second tier of legendaries, I believe it goes up to 40. But it gives you some idea of how far or how broken that skill is. But I'm not using it this time. It might be a mistake. It might give me a problem if I have a setup of 4 and 1 on the wing, because that wing really needs either a huge march capacity or a huge amount of health and defense to keep up. Anyhow, back to what I am going to use. So whilst I've been filling Joan up, I have naturally got the heads from gold keys. And I've relied on luck, and the luck has been in my favour that I've got Sun Tzu to 4-1-1-1 without using any universals. 4-1-1 on Baybars, again no universals. Even better on Kazan Oki, who has got to 5-1-1 and is even nearly at the next skill. So brilliant progress there. Now, you can see that I'm going for Thutmose, and I'm trying to get him up to level 40 before the end of today, which I think is a bit of a push, but the reason that I'm going for him is I've just been lucky on gold keys, and I've landed 2 wins with him on the gold keys and got him to 3-1-1-1 with no universals spent. I'm holding those universals back. I really don't want to spend them if I can help it. The same with Ethelfled. I've not been buying her heads, which I used to do. I used to buy her heads to get her to 5-1-1-1, but instead I've just been progressing off her free chests, and I've got her to 3-1-1, which might hurt me, but she will eventually get to 5-1-1. I'm just going to have to take my time to let it form naturally. I was going for Tommen, but I've now dropped her from the team. I was only ever really going to get her to 40 or 50, but I've decided to drop her early because of the luck I've had on keys. So I'm forming the team out of the keys that I was given or out of the commanders I'm given, as opposed to sometimes I've sat and made a plan of what I want my team to be and then try to force it to happen, and the game doesn't work like that. I've actually met a whale who was, 4 or 5 weeks in, and he didn't even have Martel. And he had 168 universal legendaries waiting to put into him, and his plan the gold keys wouldn't give it to him. So sometimes it doesn't work to make your plan before you see what's in the keys. Now, why do I like Thutmose? Why am I bending over backwards to get him? I wouldn't usually go for a legendary commander this early, but it's because he's got the support talent. And as I'm trying to build this team around Rage, it means he'll get the 300 Rage here, plus 200 Rage from Joan, which I think is going to make him a real massive damage dealer in my back row. Of course, Baybar's back row again. And let's have a little look. Have I had my helps? How many more to go? Yes, I've had my helps. So let's use that day 7. As I think this is the first opportunity you have to use it without wasting any. Sometimes on my 1.5 millions I've been burning this and losing 3 days of it, but don't do that. So hit there, and then 2 of these, 1 of those, and 1 of those. I'm officially hoarding again now from this point as well. Let's now go to Sunset Canyon and Defense. That's history. Defense. Whoops. Right, what's this going to look like? Let's see what we've got to play with. This is really my first time. So, I'm going to try something a bit funky, where Joan is going to be in the back row, and I'm going to put her with Imop, who I haven't had huge luck with, so I am going to have to spend my universals on him. I can't even find him. But what my thinking is that I'm also making her Archer. Again, a little odd, I know, but remember she gives herself plus 30 attack, and Imot has a rather legendary skill here, where he can get 15-15, even though he's epic, where it's usually +10/+10. So that's where some damage is going to come from. Also being in my back row, it doesn't matter if her march turns. Because she has a 360-degree cast, as does Imop, it doesn't matter that they're in the back row, because whether they turn, it still will cast properly. Now my next back row, I like Baybars, but I'm not too sure who's going to go with him yet. So let's just leave it there. Front row, everyone knows my favourite, Sun Ethelfled. And why I like Ethelfled to be in the front row is I know it's not making the best of her second skill, her reduced damage from counterattack, but what it means is that I can target her fan-shaped attack. So if you were to come head on to Sun Tzu here, he can hit all 5 of your marches. If he's in the back row, the first thing he's going to do is turn, and then the maximum he can hit is, I think, 3. So I like him in the front row, and if they're silly enough to try and take him on head on, then they're going to have a bad time. He's not ready yet, but there's City Keeper. And now, of course, my problem is this guy's not ready. But what he is going to do, he's going to be all archers. So that's good. But I will need to try and protect his march. So what I want is to try and protect him like this, so he's on the inside. But before the day's out, I hope to get him to level 40. And really, level 40 with the bonus 5 talents is where, in my opinion, a march starts to become viable. Let's now have a little look. Who am I going to put with this guy? So, I don't have another AoE commander. So what I might do is, I want it to obviously be damage, because he's all damage in the back row. I think I'm going to go with, for the moment, I'm going to go with El Cid. And for City Keeper, for the moment, remember this is not final, because he is attack based, this commander goes really well, because for 3 seconds increases normal damage by 10%, which of course ties in with City Keeper's attack talents. So for the moment, this is my team. Now, if City Keeper gets attacked by 4 marches, which he might alt on the wing there, remember also that normal damage increased by 3 seconds should also increase his counteract damage to all of the marches on him. So that's my defense at the moment. That's my thinking at the moment. My target, or what I need to do, is of course get that legendary archer up to spec, and I might swap him into the back row, but I also need to get Joan much more strong. Equipment's going, I've got 1 blue, not dressed yet, 3 blues, not dressed yet, and almost naked. But what can we put on him? They archers. Yep, archer defense. Have we got anything else? Is that an archer piece of equipment? Yep, archer health. That's not meant to be on Sun Tzu. Nothing there, nothing there. Oh, great. What we got here? Great. So I've got the chest. Okay. It's not a lot. It's a start. But I'm going to start concentrating on my gold and start trying to repair this. Let's see if we can expertise this on the video. No luck at all there. I think it's only 11% chance to expertise, but still a tiny bit of progress. So that's the end of the video today. More to come soon. I think I might go to weekly updates or weekly account reviews, or just start to make Sunset Canyon until we get into the Sunset Canyon event. And I say, looking forward to that, to see if I can hold my own. We're only 5k under 4 million. That's pretty good for day 16. Can I finish that off? Any free commander upgrades? There we go. We're closer now. 37. Or I think we're about Shall we just... Let's finish them and that will do it. There we go. 4 million power, not bad here. I'll take a screenshot of that and maybe I will use that in my thumbnail. Oh, it didn't work. Anyhow, there we go, guys. Thanks for watching. That's all for today.